This video will show how to use the MyoNORM software to normalize your vessels for each experiment. Before starting normalization, you will need to set the parameters for each tissue you will be normalizing. These can be different between each channel. First, you'll enter the tissue length. You can either measure this with a ruler in your dissection dish or by giving a good estimate. Next, you will need to enter the target pressure and the normalization factor for your tissue. A more in-depth discussion on these parameters can be found in the normalization guide on the DMT website. Next, you will enter the wire or the pin diameter that you are using in your chambers. You can use a data averaging time of 2 seconds and a delay time of 60 seconds. Lastly, you can enter a description of the tissue in your chamber as well as which user is running the normalization. To start, you will enter the baseline reading of the micrometer for each channel. In this instance, the baseline reading for channel 1 is 5,045. The amount of time you will need to wait is dependent on the delay time you used in your settings. In this case, we used 60 seconds, so we will have 1 minute between our points. Now that we have a baseline reading, we can enter our second point. First, we will need to stretch our tissue a bit and then take another micrometer reading. In this case, we stretched our tissue just over 1,000 microns. We will now enter that micrometer reading and select Add Point. After 1 minute, we now have our second point added. You can see below that our graph has now been generated, but our best fit curve has not been added yet. This will be added after 3 points. You should not stretch by such a large amount for the third point. You should do something smaller, something less than 100 microns. In this case, we went up 50 microns to 6,100. We will now add this point. After 1 minute, we now have our third point and our best fit line generated on the graph below. You will see that we also have an estimated micrometer position reading. However, the normalization is not completed yet. You will need at least 4 points, and you'll need to make sure that the best fit line has now crossed the target pressure line. However, as you approach the target pressure line, you should take smaller steps for each reading. We will go up 40 microns this time to add our fourth point. Our fourth point has crossed the target pressure line. The normalization was successful, and we can now use the micrometer position reading that the MyoNORM software has suggested for this channel. Set channel 1 to approximately 6,133. You can normalize all 4 channels at the same time, switching between points while you wait the delay time. This will help you normalize all of your vessels much faster.